Soundvoyager is the final release in the Bit Generation series for Game Boy Advance. Relying purely on stereo sound, you're tasked with completing a number of audio-driven puzzles such as zoning in on targets, based only on the sounds or music they transmit. It's entirely possible to play every Soundvoyager stage with your eyes closed. All you need to do is listen, and move your position to either avoid or interact with the noises you hear. Perhaps needless to say, this mandates all players wear headphones, as it's not possible to hear stereo sound through the built-in speaker of any advanced system. Meaning GBA SP users will have to get hold of the headphone adapter before they can venture on with this game. Soundvoyager includes 7 types of stages, all of which are mixed together throughout a singular campaign mode. The most common of these is Sound Catcher. You'll begin by hearing music and percussion coming from either left or right. By moving your cursor to balance out the sound, you'll eventually make contact with the source and carry it on with you. This process repeats several times, with each sound you catch building to form a complete musical arrangement. There's no fail state for these stages, giving you unlimited time to hone in on each sound. It's tricky at first, but once you train your ear to properly analyse the sound directions, you'll fly through these puzzles with ease. Most conclude with catching one of 2 sound effects after the music ends. The one you pick up will determine which stage you play next in the branching paths that make up the campaign. Sound Drive fixes you into a 5-lane highway, where you must avoid other invisible vehicles based on their sounds. It's possible to speed up with the A button to pass the stage in a faster time. Sound Chase is basically the same situation as Drive, except you'll be chasing a noise as well as avoiding oncoming cars. Again, it's possible to set a fast time here, but sadly there are no leaderboards.
Stay clear.
Next, Sound Slalom is very similar to Sound Catcher. The differences are that you don't create music as you play, and you have to pass each stage in a set time. Later stages of Slalom get pretty challenging. Appearing late in the game is Sound Cock, named after the invisible cockerel you'll be chasing. Obviously, you can only track it based on sound. Personally, I found this to be maybe the most fun puzzle type, though I didn't expect to hear such laboured breathing as time ran out. Sound Picker is basically the same as Cock, except instead of chasing a moving sound, you'll have to track down multiple stationary ones. Unsurprisingly, this one gets easier as you play. Starting out with noises coming from all directions is very distracting, but once you narrow it down, it's not very hard at all. Personally, I enjoyed this one the least. I completed most of them by zipping around randomly, collecting noises by pure luck. Finally, there's Sound Cannon. This is the only one I describe as an action puzzle, as your goal is to fire a cannon to destroy any sounds which come towards you. The best of these pit you against an invisible pride of lions. Hearing their growls draw closer and closer really raises the tension, but you might feel bad once you start to wipe them out.
Stay clear.
Overall, Soundvoyager is a brilliant game. I've never played anything else like it, but it's far from flawless. The way different puzzles are mixed together is a little frustrating, as you'll usually play a new type of puzzle, really enjoy it, and then be put back into an entirely different style of gameplay. All the puzzle varieties are great, I just prefer them to be categorised separately. It's also worth noting that even with headphones, you need a fairly quiet space to enjoy this. As a portable game, I find it hard to imagine many scenarios where I'd be happy to play this on the go. Being able to hear all the sounds clearly is very important. And unlike other bit generations, where even single player modes can be enjoyed with friends, this game is very isolating. You need to set time aside where you can enjoy its artistry in zen-like solitude. Speaking of artistry, not all the music in Soundvoyager will be popular. A lot of it is bizarre at best. If you end up not liking its style, then you can't really enjoy the game. But personally, I'm absolutely in love with Electric Ranch.
Bit. Oh. Bit generations.
Every time I play Soundvoyager, I can't help but think of the musically talented people I know and how much they might enjoy this weird Sonic-driven experience. So it's a shame this is by far the most expensive Bit Generations game. Perhaps being the last in the series has caused it to become rarer, though I suspect it's actually the high quality content that's keeping it in high demand. Given the price, I'd think twice before recommending it to anyone other than the most audio-obsessed Game Boy fans. It doesn't take more than 5 or 6 hours to beat, and unless you fall in love with the weird and noisy soundtrack, you might not come back for much more. But if you're curious and see this going for a fair price, definitely take a chance on the voyage.
Staying clear.
And with that, all 7 Bit Generations games have been covered on Fossil Arcade. To round up the series, let me give some final recommendations. Dial Hex and Colorus are both polished tile matching games, but Dial Hex rises a little higher as a more addictive and challenging concept. Soundvoyager and Digidrive are probably the most divisive titles. I say that only because, though fantastic, Soundvoyager is expensive and pretty short, while Digidrive is just outright bad, and should be avoided unless you're aiming for a full set. As the multiplayer showpiece of the series, Boundish is well worth owning if you have a GBA to spare. 2 players can get a lot from its oddball gameplay. Finally, Dotstream and Orbital are 2 of the best puzzle games I've ever played. One is for racing pixels, while the other is for gobbling up planets. If you're forced to choose just one Bit Generations title, these are your top contenders. I absolutely love them both. Whether you've stuck it out for all 7 reviews, or you're entirely new to this series, thank you for watching. If you've liked these videos, feel free to subscribe, or just share some Fossil Arcade with friends. Thanks again.